be able to. Yeah, that'll work. I have a 30. It's a M1 carbine, 30 caliber. I've had for like since 2017. And back then I was trying to reload for it with a hand loader, a Lee Classic. And it was impossible. At least at the time, it was just impossible. And I never had any problem with those, the Lee Classic hand loader. Those have always worked really good for me. So I bought an actual, when I got my loading booth thing set up with the press, I got one for the M carbine because I'm saying, well, this Classic thing isn't working. And once again, it was almost impossible. Because the base of them are so they're so stiff, and they just load funny. They're really you really got to crank down these things. Then I realized too, you have to lube each and every load, each and every case before you do this, or it's just you're going to beat yourself to death and probably ruin the die. So I learned over that. Then I went back. I learned a little more about this case, this round, its characteristics. Then I went back and used the Lee Classic, and I got it to work. Once again, lube. I only had, when I got the rifle, I only had a couple of magazines. It's fun to shoot, and as far as the caliber, 30 cal, it's like it's a pistol round. I didn't know that at the time. It's actually a pistol. It's a pistol bullet. And it's basically a long-barreled 357 with even more power. It just reminds me of a 357. And it's a real hard hitter, man. Just boom. It breaks stuff up, and I wouldn't want to be shot with it. But out to 150, 200 yards. I'm going to do some shooting with it here before too long. I'll do the old 2x6 routine. But it's fun around. But just really difficult to load. But I got that covered. I made a video last year about it. But last year, I bought a bunch of magazines for it. Now, I'm in California. You can only have 10-round mags. Reputation-wise, may not be the greatest firearm ever made, the 30 carbine. But there's plenty of people who have said, who actually fought with it in combat way back when, that said the magazines were disposable. Use it one time, you threw it away. The magazine is really crap. Not well designed. So they had a lot of issues with the magazines. They are metal. The replacements I bought are metal. And I bought like 15 of them. What I didn't do, I think I did one. I filled one and put in there, yeah, it works, this and that, and didn't open the others. And I bought it from a reputable company online. But I have an older mag I was using that's gotten sloppy. It does not, it rocks a little bit. So it's just worn out. And the mag, when the how do you say it? When you're, oh, darn it. If it's closed, it's nice and tight. It leans up against the bolt. And if it's open, it gets a little sloppy. And so that it has feeding issues. Okay, so let's get those new ones and let's use those for now. I won't mess with this old one. Put one in, and actually, no, I take that back. Before I put the thing in, I'm loading it up. I got to put 10 rounds in this thing. You get to 3, it'd lock up. You couldn't go any further. You'd have to beat the rounds in there. I'm like, well, this isn't good. Taking a look at it, and I took it apart. Then I said, well, maybe I'm loading loading the bullets are too long, and they're supposed to be 1.67 inch. I got my little doohickey out there, and I'm right on the money. So I'm thinking, well, that's weird, because this is the factory. This meets the factory length. It's getting jammed in this magazine. Well, what if the sloppy or the easy way out would just make the bullet a little bit smaller, which kind of reduce your might get some loading issues there, but just a little bit to make this thing fit. Well, currently the powder I'm using, and to get to that 1.67 inches, I'm right up. I'm packing the powder in there. I'd have to take powder out to get the bullet any deeper. So well, that's not the best way to do it. So for where I got smart at that moment, I got another one, and it loaded fine. Hey, wait a minute. Okay, there's something wrong with that magazine. And what I did is when I took it apart, if you're looking down the magazine, how it feeds, let's just terrible design or illustration here, but your bullet's laying this way, and the one that works is a nice smooth position here. Now they're on the M1. There's a little ridge. I don't know if you call it that, a little ridge type of thing that keeps it in line when you load. This is a little thing here, but anyhow, nice straight, and you got your little ridge thing there. This one, it's bent just ever so slightly, but it makes it like from 167 to like 164. Well, the bullet, you can't push the bullet any further. And it goes down for about a third of the way of the magazine, then it straightens up again. So if you look at the bent side, you can see that where it's indented, but then when you flip it around, it's nice and straight. It's like, okay. So I took that one apart, took it to work last night, screwed with it. I beat on it with a hammer. I stuck pipe down this thing. I'm tapping it. I'm this and that. And I did everything I could. I beat it. I didn't hurt it. I'm careful when I do this. But usually I shouldn't say I like challenges like this, but I'm usually up for it. I'm going to figure something out. I'll either fix this thing or it's going to get destroyed one way or the other. And I had 14 other ones. And didn't want to go through sending it back because I mean, maybe I could. I have to remember who I bought it from. Anyhow, I beat on this thing for a good couple hours, screwing with it, trying to get things bent, had it in the vise, this and that. And I get home after work, still doesn't work. Actually, at one point it was close. Then I made an adjustment and it made it worse. So I said, you know what? You can see where it's a flat piece of metal. Then they bend it and then they weld it. So ideal would be if you cut that weld and open it up, you take a tap and just straighten this thing out, put it back and weld it, which I could do. But anyway, I put this thing in the vise. Would be a good idea. Let's say it was, let's say this is a magazine. I put it in the vise like this, and for the length of it, and just added pressure and started squeezing it. I say this thing's either going to bend up and get worse, or maybe it'll bend out. Well, bent out. Cranked it down gently. I was going to get there. And I think I had 5 or 6 of them that were doing this. I got them all to open up and accept the bullet. One I got a little bit too tight because it's hard to put the base plate back on, but I can make it bend there. These things are metal, so they're like coffee cans, so it's not that big a deal. It's not like it's a pretty item or anything, and it doesn't look too bad even after all I did to them. You can't tell. But what I need to do is I'll run some rounds through them. I'm sure there's some that still need to be adjusted a little bit more, but run some rounds through it and goes from there. The point of the video, I'm probably preaching to the choir. If you buy some new magazines, go home and use them immediately. Fill them up, this and that, see how they feed, run rounds through it. I'm also learning too that and I kind of did this in the past, but I've been using revolvers more often. Once I've loaded something, I think I've got the recipe set and I'm ready to go, I start popping them into the gun magazine or whatever and make sure they're cycling, just by hand, manually. Okay, these are going, because you'd hate to go all the way through something, build 1,000 rounds and find out, hey, your bases are wide. These need to be pressed down again. Then you got to fix that. So if you buy magazines, test them out immediately. Make sure they're working. And it's also a great way to make sure that when you're reloading, does this bullet fit in the magazine? Yes, it does. And it cycles through the firearm? Yes, it does. Okay, we're good to go. Because I made that mistake. Anyhow. And don't be afraid to beat up on something. These are all metal, so they're not plastic. If it's a PMAG or something, you have to use get a lighter out, remold it or some crazy ass thing. But it, being the kind of metal it was malleable. You could beat on them. Another thing too is I don't know if you can make videos on this because you probably go to jail. I call them what do you call it? A Pez dispenser. I know we're talking about magazines, but you know what a Pez dispenser is, right? You can easily build a Pez dispenser. Because I've looked at this. I have old metal and all this kind of stuff. I said, You know, I could build a Pez dispenser that will kick out red hots all day. 10, California. That's too much sugar. Can't have over 10. But I need to research that. See, why can you rebuild? Can you create parts to repair your Pez dispenser? That's something I'd like to pursue. Because once I've looked at it, because I've had to fix stuff like this before, I'm like, yeah, it would look pretty, but I can make this happen. Plus, all the components for your Pez dispenser are currently for sale. Anyhow, love you, God bless.